Fun fact about me. As long as you keep the Dr. Pepper coming, I'll be happy as a clam. Okay, first of all, that's actually a lie. I'm pretty much always in a good mood every day. The Dr. Pepper just kind of makes it permanent. And second, who says happy as a clam anymore?
Party, 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 I wanna have a party. I need to have a party. You better have a party. Party, 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 you gotta party hardy. I'm gonna have a party, or else you will retard. Party, 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 the party's gonna start it. I know what got it, party, party, love the party. Party, 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 make me party. I gotta take an acid so I can keep a party.
The ghosts and goblins have retreated to their caves and graves for another year. Now that the month of Hallows' Eve has come to an end, it's time to start thinking about anything that's not Christmas related. Seriously, people, we've got a whole month before the holidays start coming around. As soon as December 1st hits, then you can start singing Deck the Halls and all that jazz. This is the time of year to be thinking about what we are thankful for in our lives. In other words, this is the month of Thanksgiving, a time to reflect upon our lives and think about what has happened in our lives, how we have progressed as people, as individuals on a personal scale. And man, do I have a lot of things to be grateful for in my life. So, after much thought and drawing some inspiration from Team 4-Star's list of the same topic, I'll be doing a countdown of my top 5 video games that I am thankful for. Now, the conditions for this list are a bit different from what you would expect from your average countdown. For starters, while I am putting games on here that I have played, they do not have to be games that I have completed. I only have to have experienced them. I will also not be critiquing the game itself. Instead, I will be explaining what the games mean to me in my heart and how they have impacted my life. And that's about it. So, with not much else to say, let's get started, shall we? No, that sounds too aggressive for this topic. I know. Gather round, friends, and let me tell you a story or two. Number 5. Let the games begin. A few of you may be raising your eyebrows at this. Why would I pick Brawl over either Melee or the first one that started the Smash Brothers craze? Well, 1, I haven't played Melee, and 2, while I do have the original N64 cartridge, Brawl was one of the first Wii games I played. Now, while that may seem like nothing special, there is a story behind it. I think it was either after I graduated middle school or I completed my freshman year at high school. I'm thinking it's the latter. Anyways, my mother, my brother, and my godparents were eating at a restaurant called the Cheesecake Factory. I think that's what it was anyways. And while we were talking to each other, having a good time, etc., Mom put 2 gift-wrapped presents on the table. My brother and I curiously tore through the paper to find 2 Wii setup instruction manuals. The simple one and the more complex one. Needless to say, my brother Josh and I were quite puzzled. We thought they had lost it in terms of how modern technology worked because we said to them, "What's the point of having this if we don't have a Wii?" And that's when they dropped the bombshell on us. "The Wii is waiting for you at home," our mother said. Josh and I were shocked. We had really wanted a Wii, but we kind of figured we would never get one since our family has been pretty tight on money for the past several years. But we got it as an extra special gift since we both got straight A's the past school year. Mom, Dad, and our godparents, Aunt Diane and Uncle Carl, bless their hearts, all pitched in and got it online for both me and Josh. Needless to say, it was a great day for both of us. After we were done eating, Josh and I went to GameStop and bought Brawl and Mario Kart Wii. Then we went home, and immediately after we set the system up, we proceeded to beat each other up in Brawl. And we had so much fun while we did it. Together we conquered the subspace emissary, built our own battlegrounds, got the gang all together, and after much practice, we were strong enough to challenge our closest friends. And we kicked butt. I remember Josh would always beat me up as Ike, while I would attempt to outfox, hedgehog him with Sonic. I lost most of those matches. But, as the saying goes, if you can't beat him, join him. So, I trained hard as Ike. And other characters too, but I played as Ike for a good while until I got to the point where I was arguably better than Josh was. He was kind of frustrated with the fact that his quote-unquote immature older brother was kicking his can. This would later lead to me placing first in the only online match I ever did, and placing second in a tournament that was held by my church's youth group, meaning I was one of the best brawlers in my neighborhood. That's probably changed since I haven't played the game in a while. I also made some pretty good friends from this game, especially when I started taking classes in my career field through the last 3 years of high school. It was also the first game where I got the idea to start a YouTube channel and call myself Omega360 Gamer Extraordinaire. But that name was already taken, apparently. So I went with one of the suggestions that it gave me, which was the Omega360. And that's part of how I got my YouTube name. Of course, my visions for my channel were way unrealistic, and that was before I experimented with English voices in Mega Man ZX. Mom, Dad, Aunt Diane, and Uncle Carl, this was a fantastic gift, one that I am extremely thankful for. Thank you all so much. And Josh, I know we fought a lot over the years, but I still cherish you a lot as a younger brother. But, and this is sarcasm mind you, I had slightly more fun bashing your butt off the stage. Still, it was fun duking it out with you. You really knew how to keep me on my toes. Thanks, man. Number 4. Maestro! Although Kingdom Hearts 2 was the first game in the series I played, I owe a lot to the first game in the series, because if it weren't for the first one, the second wouldn't have existed. I first found out about this game when my two friends, Daniel and Zach, were talking about it during lunch for a few days. I was one of those quiet and shy dudes that didn't really talk a whole lot unless I was talked to. I kept overhearing my friends talk about random Disney character names and other random terms like potions and summons and whatnot. I was uninterested at first because I was kind of growing out of Disney stuff at the time. But then one day I just couldn't contain my curiosity any longer and asked what in the world they were talking about. They said, Kingdom Hearts. I just replied with a confused look. And needless to say, they were shocked to learn that I never heard of the game. At all. I never even heard of Square Enix or any of the Final Fantasy games at that time. A good reason for this is that, one, I still had not learned how to broaden my horizons from Mega Man, and two, I didn't have a PlayStation or a PS2. I only had a Game Boy, an N64, and a GameCube, and very few games for each of them. So they made it their mission to introduce me to the series. One day the three of us were spending the night at Zach's house, and he showed me a few boss fights on the first and the second game on his PS2, and on Chain of Memories on his Game Boy. I was immediately speechless by what I saw, and I wanted to try playing it right away. So I played through part of the first game and loved every second of it. But I was disappointed when I had to leave for home the next day. So I made it a mission to get a PS2 and then get one of the Kingdom Hearts games. And although I said not to talk about Christmas, I can't tell the rest of the story without throwing this in there. On Christmas Eve, I got a letter from my Uncle Bob. I had turned 13 years old earlier that month, and enclosed within the envelope was my first $100 bill as a belated birthday present. I was so happy that night, and I knew what I was going to spend it on. And that's how I got a PS2 and experienced my first Kingdom Hearts game, which reawakened the child within me, brought back so many memories from my childhood, and immediately made me feel better when I was having a bad day. Uncle Bob, thank you so much for that generous gift you gave me. That was very sweet of you. Daniel, I know we haven't talked in a long while, but the days we spent messing around were some of the best days of my life. Thanks for being a friend. And Zach, I had heard that you were going through a tough time recently. I have no idea if that has changed, but I want you to know that my prayers are with you. I hope things get better for you if they haven't already. You were a great friend to have around. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Number 3.
It's me, Mario!
Christmas 2001 was a life-changing experience for me. For it was that day I got one of my first video game systems, along with the game that blew my mind, with its music, colors, and endless amounts of exploration. One of the first gaming systems I got was a Nintendo 64, and my brother and I were screaming with excitement that day. With the N64, we got 2 games, Toy Story 2 and Super Mario 64. Out of both of them, I played Mario the most. A good reason why I played it the most part is because the game would save on the cartridge and I didn't need a friggin' memory pack like I did with Toy Story. But the main reason I played it the most was because of how vast it was. Now, obviously, since this was one of the first games I ever played, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing or what I was supposed to do. I couldn't read very well back then, so I had no idea about the controls or how to use them effectively. But I honestly didn't care. Whoa! A castle? Can I explore it? Oh man, all the doors are locked. Oh wait, there's one that isn't. What's with this painting? Oh, it rippled. Can I go inside it? Oh! Oh, what's gonna happen now? Whoa! This is so cool! Oh man, what's there to do in this place? My amazement knew no bounds. I had no idea just how massive a video game could be in terms of content and exploration. This was my first experience of how vast and wild the imagination of the mind could be. I have always had an expansive imagination before I played video games, but playing this game is where I really started to imagine all sorts of stuff. Whenever I was bored, I would always imagine myself and my friends going on a grand adventure to conquer evil in scenarios that were similar to the video games that I played in my earlier years. Sometimes I even acted them out during recess, and people gave me strange looks, but I didn't really care that much. You people are weird for not trying to be weird! This was a game I played non-stop for 2 years straight, even after I beat the game because there was still so much I wanted to explore, so many stars I didn't collect, so many secrets to uncover. There was just so much enjoyment and wonder. Mom, Dad, thank you guys so much for giving me this gift. This has given me some of the most wonderful childhood memories. I love you both.
Here we go!
Number 2.
Space, the final frontier. These are the adventures of...
Wait. That's the wrong franchise. Now, where did I put it? Okay, found it.
There have been many legends throughout the galaxy. Some legends tell of stalwart knights fighting over balance and supremacy. Some tell of a shepherd who united the races of the galaxy against a galactic-wide threat. But none of those legends have been as remarkable as the legend of the Space Marine, known only as the Master Chief.
What, you thought I didn't play FPS games? I do play them from time to time, I just kinda suck at them. I mean, if I didn't play these games, or even third-person shooter games for that matter, I wouldn't have put Vanquish on my last list. Anyways, there's a lot I have to be thankful for what came out of Halo Combat Evolved. I remember someone telling me about this game, but I honestly cannot remember who it was. My parents still wouldn't let me play M-rated games until I was 17, which honestly was probably a good call. I was still getting used to seeing truckloads of blood from Bram Stoker's Dracula. You know, the one with Keanu Reeves in it. Anyways, this game was one of the first M-rated games that I experienced. My brother and I didn't have an Xbox at the time, so we downloaded the trial version on our dad's rather crappy laptop. He still has it, and it still runs Windows XP. And for whatever reason, it's still working. Strange that. Anyways, Josh was the one who played it the most at first, but as I was watching him, I got interested in playing it too. Call us a couple of jerks if you want, but honestly, Josh and I had way too much fun turning against our allies in the campaign demo and having them shoot back at us and then dying in ways that we all thought were absolutely hilarious. And then there was our very first experience with online multiplayer as we fought in the only map that was available for the trial, Blood Gulch, which honestly is my favorite map ever in the Halo series. I remember all the craziness that happened on that map. I personally had the best of times driving in the Warthog and running over everybody that ran towards me, and then getting blown up by a tank in the process. This was also the first game that I found that I was really good with a sniper rifle, after some practice, of course. Josh and I enjoyed it so much that when Halo Reach was announced, we made a plan to pull all of our money we had, most of it was in the form of Walmart gift cards, to buy an Xbox 360. And we did. And a few months later, we got Halo Reach and Halo 3. My god, the fun we had with those games. Josh would always beat me by either bashing me with his fists, blowing me up with grenades, or blasting me with a shotgun. Of course, I would get the occasional win by getting a few headshots, riding a grav lift, and bombarding him with sniper shots, missile pod, or the brute shot. That was so much fun. This was also the first series where I was introduced to the art of machinimation, and one of my classmates in school, Dan Renko, wrote his own original series using the Halo Reach engine, and was one of my earliest experiences in voice acting. I did the voice of Medical Officer Benjamin Anderson. Looking back on it, my voice was, well, kinda garbage back then. I sound like I'm tired and bored.
You don't want to upset the CO. He is a very powerful officer and highly respected by the UNSC. If you get him angry or upset, he'll do whatever he wants to you, so be careful.
Ugh. Still, that experience was so much fun for me, and I loved working on it with everyone that was involved in the project. However, the biggest thing I have to be thankful for is what came from the first Halo game in 2003. And just by saying that year, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will know what I'm talking about. After all, it started with one simple question.
Hey, yeah? You ever wonder why we're here?
Red versus Blue. I saw Josh watching this on Dad's laptop. He was watching the last episode of the Blood Gulch Chronicles, and immediately I recognized the characters' voices from audio clips that were mashed up from random funny videos I looked up on YouTube because I was bored one night and couldn't sleep. Fascinated, Josh told me what the show was called, and immediately after we got back to our mom's house and I was certain everyone was asleep, I binge-watched the crap out of the series, starting with the first season for several weeks in a row, all the way up to the premiere of Season 8. And I have been following this show ever since. The first few episodes made me laugh the hardest I have ever laughed in my life. And if a show can blend comedy and a well-written plot all together in a way that catches my interest, then it's a show I will stick to for life. At first I thought this was just a bunch of college guys just goofing off and giving in to fan demand at first, but I later found out that Rooster Teeth, the guys that produced Red vs. Blue, was an honest-to-God company. And I was thinking, wait, they actually make money off of this? Yeah, they do, because they put Red vs. Blue on DVDs and Blu-ray. But what about copyrights? That would have been an issue if Bungie and 343 Industries didn't love what Rooster Teeth was doing. Hell, they even helped with the production of Red vs. Blue, as well as adding Easter eggs of the show in the actual games, like Griffball. Can you say, dirtbag? And then I got interested in just about everything that Rooster Teeth was doing, so I started following them. And oh my god, what a community. Red vs. Blue actually got me interested in the Halo series. And although I don't play the games that often, I still have a ton of fun when I do. Whenever I was having a bad day, I would always turn to this series, and somehow it would always make me feel better about whatever was happening in my life. It would make me feel relaxed and remind myself that I would get through my struggles, and things would work out somehow. And when I think about it, if it weren't for the success of the first Halo game, the series wouldn't have continued. And if the series didn't continue, Red vs. Blue wouldn't be where it is today. Hell, if Halo didn't even exist in the first place, there would be no Red vs. Blue. There would be no Rooster Teeth. There would be no Ruby. And I would have never known about Montione. I wouldn't have started to develop the ideas that I have been developing for the past few months if I hadn't been inspired by Rooster Teeth in the first place. Maybe I would have come up with ideas some other way, but I can't imagine it happening any other way. And to be honest, I wouldn't want it any other way. Josh, I know you're not a huge fan of the stuff that I like, but if you hadn't shown it to me, I wouldn't have been able to broaden my horizons in the way that I have in terms of interest. Thanks, dude. Dan, you are a tremendous editor, photographer, cinematographer, and writer. It was so much fun working with you back in the old days of the Career and Technology Center. Godspeed on your endeavors, good man. And to every one of my buddies that were at the Career and Tech Center with me, you guys are awesome, and I hope you're doing well.
Gentlemen, looks like this is it. Sir, it's been an honor. Si muero, mis pies, si reciclan. I love you too, Lopez. Oh, that's so sweet. Now, let us strike fear into the hearts of our enemies.
The smartest thing you've ever said.
Yeah! Yeah!
Hey, I just want you guys to know that out of everyone I've ever met, I hate you all. See you on the other side, church.
Now, you're probably asking yourself, if there's so much I have to be thankful for that came from this game, what could possibly impact me on a greater emotional scale? Well, I'll tell you. Right after these honorable mentions. Luigi's Mansion. I was terrified of the dark when I was a kid. This game helped me get over that fear and taught me a very valuable life lesson. Sometimes the best way to conquer your fears is to face them. Sonic the Hedgehog. I played this a little bit on the Sega Genesis that my babysitters had at their house. Thinking about this game brings back all of the wonderful memories that my brother and I had playing hide and seek and all those random shenanigans with two of the greatest people we've met in our lives. Laura, Julia, God bless you both. Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. A game that got me interested in a sport that I'm A, actually good at, and B, don't need to put an immense amount of physical energy into. Finally, a sport that I'm possibly better at than my brother. Mario Party 7. And speaking of my brother, we finally got a game that we didn't get mad at each other for beating the living daylights out of each other, and instead got the chance to work together, conquer challenges, and be the most awesome bosses in video game history. Thanks for the awesome birthday gift, Mom! Mario Kart 64. It was here that I discovered my need for speed. Out of my way, you nitwits! I can't help but feel that's what my grandfather would say if he were playing this. Hatsune Miku, Project Mirai DX. The first Vocaloid game I ever played. My girlfriend and I have bonded so much through this. I love you, Caitlin. Number 1. This game is where everything began for me. It started to help me shape who I am as a person today. It was also another one of the first games that I ever played. But most importantly, it helped me find my path. And that's why this game will always hold a special place in my heart. Mega Man Battle Network. This was not only the first game in the Battle Network series that I played, but it was also the very first Mega Man game that I ever played. Now, since this was another one of my first video games, I clearly had no idea what I was doing. But the second I heard that title music, I was interested. I can't really explain what that means. Trying to convert feelings into words is never easy for me. Truth be told, a lot of the games I've played today, I mostly got because they had music I thought sounded awesome. And most of them didn't disappoint. Anyways, I digress. Intrigued, I pressed start, and I had no idea what was going on. I was in 2nd grade when I got this game, so I couldn't read very well at the time. I had no idea who the characters were, what the story was about, how to play, fight, switch out chips, save. It was a mess. I was way out of my element with this game. But I wanted to understand how to play. So I got serious about reading and practiced as hard as I could, until I found that I could read 5 sentences in the game's dialogue reels. And everything that happened after that just followed naturally. I got better at battles, compiled the best folder to suit my battle style, conquered all enemies and bosses that came my way, got super involved in the story, and in 4 years' time, after I got stuck on what to do in terms of progression, wandered the deepest parts of the net looking for any possible clues on what to do next, fought enemies that I technically was not ready for, became way overpowered for the rest of the game as a result, and bam, Mega Man Battle Network became the second game I beat. And then I discovered the sequels. And then the anime. Making the best childhood I could have ever experienced. And it's still a huge part of my life. Not because it was one of the first games that I played the crap out of, although that is a huge part of it. But I also made some really close friends because of it. Hayden, Nolan, Daniel, Zach, Bryce. I met them all through this game. I found out what I wanted to do in my life through this game. I want to create and help create what is impossible in reality, but isn't in our minds. I want to create stories about worlds that no one has ever thought possible before. I have been building up an imagination in my head, and I want to unleash it for the world to see. If this game hadn't existed, I wouldn't have met half the guys who are my best friends throughout the years. I wouldn't have made half of the memories that I have. Team.exe would never have existed. Mega Man Abridged, our Mega Man Abridged Warrior, wouldn't have happened. This game isn't just my childhood, nor is it my entire life. It's a part of me. It helped shape me who I am. It helped me make friends when I had very few for the majority of my life. This is why this game is number 1 on this list. This is the game I am most thankful for. Mom, Dad, thank you for Christmas 2001. I don't want to say it was the best Christmas, because I honestly can't choose which one was the best Christmas, but it was the most memorable one. Life is difficult. Growing up is difficult. There are good times, awesome times, tough times, depressing times. Moments in your life when you feel like you're on top of the world, and then moments in your life when you feel like you just want to end it all. We all have those moments at some point. No matter who you are, there will always be the good days and bad days. There's no avoiding it. They will come and go, sometimes without warning. But the thing that really matters is how you continue to persevere. And the people that I have met have helped me realize that. Video games are awesome. I know that may be my opinion, but to me, it's true. I know some people may think it's a waste of time, but those people just don't understand. Video games have evolved so much from just toys. They have become a community, a culture, a family. half of the people I have met in my life, the friends I have made, I never would have made if I did not have video games in my life. They gave me things to connect to other people with. And those same people helped me through my darkest moments in my life. They gave me their hand when I fell flat on my back. And most of the time, I didn't even need to ask for it. It's not just video games that helped me shape who I am. For the most part, it was my friends, my classmates, my teachers, my ever-expanding family. They are the ones who shaped me, guided me, taught me. The thing that I am most thankful for this year, no, the thing I am most thankful for all of my years to come is the people that I have met in my life. Everyone, you mean the world to me. And I cannot imagine my life without all of you in it. Thank you. And have a happy Thanksgiving.